Hello everyone, my name is Yuri from Mouse, and we are here in this beast, the Ford, around Road Atlanta. As you guys know, my favorite track on the sim, especially with this car, it's a blast to drive. So without too much further ado, let's get into it because it's quite tricky. You need to hit your markers on a lot of the spots, and the lines you take here is very, very important, maybe even more important than most other tracks. So let's get into it. Right, here we are, end of the lap. First and last try I'll do this. On race fuel as usual, and we're in a big ass Mustang around a tight ass track. So it's gonna be hard to stay within the track limits. That doesn't count yet. But the car is very nimble, very good over the curbs. So should be able to produce some good lap times. Then let me open up all the way from the left side. And we want to end up on the entry curb on the left side here again. When the curb ends, we want to turn in. Careful with the throttle here, it's almost flat, but sometimes a small lift is required. Curb on the right side. Then we want to brake in between those two white lines on the road. End up on the left side. Try to set up for a nice exit. And then we have this whole straight to think about how we will brake on the right side curb. Get to the inside. Take a lot of the apex without getting the off track. So we're braking from here to the outside. Let's set up for a good exit. And that's a lap around Road Atlanta. Right, so here we are about to start our lap. I want to run to turn 1. We want to use this entry road on the left side here. That means I want to come from about the middle of the track and just run straight over the grass. You don't want to turn on the grass a bit, but you want to run straight over it and kind of just only take this edge here to avoid getting an off track. And then you just have these two wheels on the left side here next to the white line. There's not an off track, and you just open the corner a bit more. And you want to get to the inside here. If you're going too much wide here, you'll have no turning at all. Get to the middle of the track. And then as a reference, it's around the top of the hill. I want to be around this line on the road. So I want to cross that just before you hit the top of the hill. And that's a reference to get to the curb here on the left side. And I want to kind of go on the curb the whole time it's on the left side. When the curb ends, you start to turn in. It's very hard to see the apex. But what I look at is when the curb ends, I start to turn in, and you should end up right at where you need to be. And if you take the right angle here, you land where the curb goes down again. So you go up and you land where the curb goes down again, and that way the car settles immediately. You have a lot more grip. This downhill section here, you want to be almost flat, but you can feel the rear sun to kick out a bit, so I don't keep it fully flat. And you want to park your right side tires on this curb here. Brake as much as you can in a straight line on the curb. And then when you go off the curb, careful to not be on the brakes when the car lands here much anymore. So the moment you go off the curb, you want to go off the brakes. If you keep the same brake on when you go off the curb, the car will get unsettled when it lands and you lose grip. You can either run over the curb completely on the inside here or not take much of it at all. Then run close to this point of gravel here. This is not an off track as long as you're back before this road on the right side ends. So you can't take too much of the grass here without getting off track. And then we'll have a quick look at Delta, how those inputs look like. So we can go. So here we have the first section. Zoom in on this, and you can see tap on the brake on the left side. You don't need to be very harsh on going onto the brakes. slowly onto the brakes, slowly off of the brakes. And then the whole downhill section, close to 100%, but lift where you feel like it's needed. You don't need to keep 100% and push the tires a lot. So almost flat out, but lift where you feel like it's needed, if you need it somewhere, depending on how much track grip you have as well. And then slowly on the brakes here as well. You don't want to just suddenly jam on the brakes on the curb. Off the brakes again, back on the power. From the left side here, you want to brake close to the first line from when I look in the car. If I look from the outside, I'm braking on the first one, but if you look from the inside, I start the brake when we get close to this line here. I want to park the car on the curb on the left side here. Brake in a straight line, get the car straightened up. A good run down the back straight. And we have all the run on the back straight. Get to the lash again, which is really important as well. You can brake again parallel to the white line, but I like braking a bit from the middle, so I end up on the curb on the right side here. This way I have a bit more entry than if I'm braking here on the cars here. And then brake to the inside. 2 tires can be on the gravel here, as long as the middle of the car isn't on the gravel. And then try to set up that you have good exit onto the right-hander here that goes up on the hill. The way I do that is right when I start to turn in, I lift a bit or tap the brake depending on what the car needs to put a bit of weight on the front end and then go back flat out again up the hill. And that's a lap around Port Atlanta. Right, so there we go. Very tricky but very rewarding track. If you enjoyed a video like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I will see everyone next week for the next track guide.